I'm back and I'm in a very messy office. So the first thing we're going to do is actually reset the office and get set up for an actual day of work. So I have been doing work, don't panic. I've still been doing critiques, I've still been working on book 3, I've still been doing stuff in the background, but not as much as I could have been because of lots of different reasons, which I will talk you through as I am tidying. But first of all, let me just show you the absolute mess that we're in. So let's start by shutting this door. So I asked for a lock on this door because look at the state of everything. Let's just go through it. So we have a bag of stuff down here. This is like old stuff of my daughter's that needs selling. We've got a bag of like some bits that I bought the other day. Well, that needs selling. This desk is a bit of a mess. Not quite sure if my plants are going to survive. We will see. Oh, pretty bookshelf. That is so pretty. We've got washing here. I'm not quite sure. We're like in really hot weather. Not quite sure why that isn't outside. Got another one over there. Got a bag of all electrical stuff. Like I just count anything with a wire. Electrical that needs sorting through. Stuff in my bedroom. Another dead plant that not even out of this thing. Box of art stuff for the kids. And a box of like photos and mementos that needs going through and sorting out to put in the attic. We've got there's some kids toys there, a bag of bags. Everyone needs a bag of bags. And as I said, another one of these. Then we move to the desk. We've got kids stuff, presents, stuff for me, a plate, a pile of stuff, pencils on the floor. And then it's just, there's my drinks for today, stuff piled up here, stuff underneath the desk. Yeah, so this is what we're working with, guys. It feels so weird to be back on YouTube for my author channel. So it's been a while since I was last here, everyone, and I thought whilst I was doing this office reset, we would have a sit down and have a little chat about everything that's been going on and all of that fun stuff. And it's actually not all fun stuff, but never mind. Firstly, so I think my last video was perhaps in January, and I'm not quite sure how we've ended up at the end of June, beginning of July. Like, my mind is blown because of that. Anyway, I did deliberately take off a little break. I actually took a break off writing as well. So in January, my vitamin D levels tanked so low that my mood was really bad. So I almost felt like I was back in my depressive state again and that my antidepressants had just suddenly stopped working. That's how bad I felt. So there was that. I had no desire to do anything. I really struggled. I was so emotional. And I really could not focus on anything. So my husband said to take some time off. And that's what I did. I took a couple of months off, actually, writing included. But then I slowly sort of came back into things and I was starting to feel a little bit better. And so I started writing again. But that is a story I want to go through in a minute about the writing because it's been a difficult process. So in terms of my mental health, I was really struggling with, lots of things in January because of that vitamin D. It was so low. But when I started coming back into things, I noticed some mental health issues and worries that I still had that I just want to talk about. I just think it's really important to be really open about mental health. Well, it is for me. That's something that I think is important for me. So one of the things I had issues with was my weight and how I looked. Believe it or not, I'm actually heavier now than when I was pregnant with my 10-pound girl. So it is frustrating. However, the medication that I'm on isn't good for weight loss. And also I have to think back to when I was piling on that weight. Some of it was the medication, but some of it was just how I was surviving that day-to-day life with 2 very young children when my daughter was still a baby and I was at home with them all the time before I was like, no, I can't do this anymore. I need some help. And we got them into nursery and the grandparents started doing a bit of childcare as well. And that's sort of where it stemmed from. And since then, I've not been able to lose it, again, because of the medication. Now, we've done lots. I've been to doctors back and forth. I am under their care for medication. It's just something that's not working quite right. But that was something that was playing on my mind a lot. And for some reason, I was connecting how I felt about my body and my weight to my self-worth, which is the wrong thing to do. But it really affected then like my work life and my family life on top of that. And obviously my family life has to come first. We've had some difficulties with family life as well. I do believe it will get easier in some respects come September, because my daughter will be starting school. I can't believe I'm saying that, but I will have 2 children at school. So I really do think them going together will help. She's really excited and she's very confident. She will also lean into being the younger sister and my son like showing her around and stuff. She'll really lean into that because she likes it. And I think that will give Benji like a purpose. So I'm really hoping come September that will help. And also we know, even with all his difficulties, we noticed such a difference when he started school that first year, the maturity and development. So I can only imagine how that might actually go with my daughter. It's a confusing thing and I'm not sure I'm making any sense, but these last few months have been spent working on myself and on my family, and that's just a little bit of the background for that. When it comes to this office is used as a dumping ground for everyone and everything. Not only that, my children come in and they take all my pens, all my pencils, all my tape. Oh my goodness, my children are obsessed with tape. I have none left. I used to have loads. I used to do lots of like crafty things as well. Like almost all of that has gone. I was getting frustrated. They would come in, take loads of paper off, draw, leave everything on the floor, and I could not cope with them taking my stuff any longer. So the other day I woke up and I was just in such a foul mood, and they'd done that again. And I said to my husband, I want a lock. I want a lock on the top of the office door. And to give him his due, he went out and got a lock and put it up that day, that morning. So I mean, to be fair, my son could climb on a chair and open it. It's just one of those like you pull them along lock thingies. I don't know what they're called actually. It is enough a deterrent, and also we'll be able to hear it a bit easier as well. Like that, you can't just accidentally go into the office and get some paper and pens. You'd have to actually go and get a chair, stand on it, open the door and get in. So I'm hoping that will be enough to stop them, because I can't deal with them coming into the office. On top of that, everything gets dumped in here. We've been trying to sort out our house for quite a while now, but it's not going well, because every time I start with the kid stuff, it just gets messy again. So what I've actually done is start with my stuff. So the office, put a lock on the door. I've done the car and I've done my bedroom. So I am slowly working through all the different rooms, and the last rooms will be their rooms and the playroom, so that everything else is tidy, so that subconsciously they're not thinking, well, our parents aren't looking after the house, why should we? And again, I don't think they are thinking that consciously, but we are modelling for them. And if they come out of their playrooms and they see the rest of the house a mess, that's not great modelling behaviour. So let's get back to the office and the reset. I am very much the kind of person that needs to have everything around me relatively tidy. I'm a bit of a weird personality. I'm not a very tidy person naturally. However, I function best in tidy environments. I think it's that age-old, like a messy house, messy mind, and it like affects your mood and your productivity and stuff like that. So even though I'm a messy person naturally, I don't like it. It really frustrates me. I really struggle with that. And then you add on the fact that I've got my chronic illness and all my back and my knee problems. It's not a great combination. But I'm hoping that there were some things in this office that I had to go through that I'd been putting off for a while. And I think even just the knowledge that I wanted to film this, to put it back on my channel, to like get started, it was almost like that motivator that I needed to get on with it, and that's what we did. Now let's go into writing, and I'm currently writing book 3 of my new adult romantasy series, and there's a lot to unpack here. So one thing I've been struggling with is feeling like it's not good enough, or like I'm not good enough, or like what's the point, and things like that, which is mad because every now and then I still get these messages, either not necessarily review, I try not to look at those too much, but I'll get private messages every now and then where people say, oh my god, I've just finished your book and I really loved it. And you know what, those messages mean so much to me. I can't tell you how much they like really keep me going. But I think I'm feeling the pressure with book 3 because people are like, oh, hopefully it's sooner than the summer. Spoiler alert, it will not be the summer that it comes out. It will be, well, I'm hoping it will be October time, so like the last book, but we'll see. I've still not finished the first draft and it's really freaking me out. But anyway, so there was like getting into my own head about the quality of it. I did also think that is probably my anxiety playing up, but my actual concerns that I think are actually correct is I'm not quite certain on one of my characters and the direction they're going in. I'm not quite sure I'm being consistent with their character. However, I feel like I need to get to the end of the book to see where they end up properly to then edit. So yes, I do have a plan and I know where they want to go and things like that. But sometimes as I'm writing, things change or I get to know the characters more. And so that's what I think needs to happen. But it's really, it's playing with my mind that as I'm writing, I'm not 100% sure about this character and their actions. And it's like kind of trying to marry up that, no, I need to get to the end to be able to edit back, but then also thinking, but I don't think what I'm writing is good enough. As in for this character. I think I also worry that I'm not hitting the right points. I feel like I'm dragging my leg because as soon as I finish this book, I can get it to beta readers. I can get it to other authors and readers that I trust with their feedback, and I'll be able to edit and make it better. I've always said I'm one of those people that takes on board advice, and it's only been a very few times where I've gone, no, I don't agree with that feedback. I'm not going to listen to it. Because most of the time I do. I do listen to feedback and I am open to receiving that, because there's no point putting a book out there that isn't the best that you can do right now. So another thing that got into my mind is that at Christmas time, you got to bearing in mind when my mental health started falling down. So at Christmas time, I did another Christmas market, and I had several people come up to me that had read the first book and were excited for the second book, which was great. And at the time I loved it. I also had people saying that they think my writing is like getting better, like this series is better than my last series and each book is better than the last, which again was amazing. But since then, that's gotten into my head in a bad way. I don't know how to explain this. And if someone else has gone through this before, please let me know, if that's so that I'm not the only one. But that sort of like got into my head. And then I was thinking, well, what if this book isn't better than the last one? What if I'm not doing so well? What if they don't want to read this book? What if it's not as good as the last ones? And it just, I think that combined with my mental health at the time was just this very big toxic brain environment for me to be in. So there was those issues. Another issue, which I think I've literally only come to the conclusion now, by the way, but one issue I had was I think I put too much pressure on myself in terms of timing. So for some reason, I thought I might be able to write book 3, publish book 3, and completely write book 4 and be near publishing book 4 in this year. How I thought that when I have a chronic illness and I've got one child still not at school and I've got another child with needs, how I thought I could do that, I don't know. Like, what was going through my brain? I was not being realistic at all. And then it was only the other day when I had like a little dump list of stuff that I had to do. And I found one of my old diaries. So I thought, fab, I will put in what I want to do tomorrow and start making lists that way. And then the next day, even though I'd been really productive the previous few days, I was just like, whoa, nope, not doing that. I don't know what it's called, but I think I struggle with setting myself expectations of, well, this is my list for Tuesday, this is my list for Wednesday, this is what I'm going to get done this year, which I don't know how that works out, because obviously you want to plan, you want to have long-term planning and stuff like this. I don't know how to get those expectations, how to reduce those expectations, but it's almost as if I give myself an expectation and then my brain goes, haha, nope, we're not doing that. So what I have done since, and again, this has only been a few days, is I'm just writing a dump list, and I'm just calling it a dump list. And as and when I do things, I will cross them off. And I think that's the way I'm going to have to go. Now, there will be some days where I have to get certain things done on a certain day. And if that is going to happen, I'll probably get like a post-it note and just write those things on a post-it note and put it on my dump list. So I know, right, that post-it note, that has to be done today because I have to go online and make that payment or things like that. But I'm not going to say, right, I want to write this many words tomorrow. I want to do XYZ videos. I want to do XYZ for like TikTok and Instagram, because my brain just cannot do that. I don't know why. If you have any answers, please let me know. I do wonder if it might be linked to some sort of like demand avoidance. I don't know. I'm just making guesses here. But I really am struggling with that. So my dump lists are working so much better for me right now. And I'm hoping as I carry on, and I will be doing like a Q3 video, and I'm going to share with you how I'm changing things up to try and reduce some of those expectations that my brain just goes, I can't deal with this expectation. So instead of doing stuff, because you've got a lot of things to do, I'm just going to do nothing. My brain is so good like that, isn't it? So that's what we're going to do and what I'm going to work on. I'm going to talk more about like dump lists and how I'm planning for Q3 in my next video. So if we circle back to book 3, I did give myself a sort of deadline to get it done by the end of the school year. I don't think that's going to happen because that's only in like 4 weeks' time or something like that. Not quite certain where we're at in the year. But I think I'm going to try and get it done by the end of July. I think that's a realistic expectation. Well, she says I would actually have to write for that to happen. It may be August. It may have to be August. But I can tell you now, it will be done by the end of Q3. And it will be published in Q4. She says, fingers crossed, everyone. It needs to happen. Basically, anyone who tells me, oh, I hope you do it sooner, blah, 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 I think my brain will just short circuit and then fizzle out. So please don't say that. It's just the expectation and my brain just not coping. I am hoping that come September things will be like the routines might be a bit easier because both my kids will be going to the same school, so I'll have a shorter day. However, it will be consistent, and I think that's going to be important. So we'll see how September comes with productivity. So it could be that whilst I'm in the throes of trying to publish and get book 3 ready for publishing, I can be working on book 4, but we'll see. I'm not going to give myself, like, I'm not going to say, right, whilst I'm doing this, I'm going to write book 4 and book 4 is going to be written by Christmas, because that is a recipe for disaster. But what I am going to say is, you know, put myself into a routine in September, come up with a really good routine to try and follow and stuff like that. What I do find helpful is actually going out to do some writing as well. So that might be something I try and incorporate, maybe once a week to go out and do some writing as well. So moving forward, and what you can expect from me in regards to my YouTube channel is I'm really close to 1,000 followers, and I'd love to get to 1,000 followers, and then also up my watch time and just really focus on my YouTube channel a little bit. It does give me an outlet to be productive when I don't want to work on my books. It gives me that extra room to be creative and move somewhere else, and also like put back into this community. It is one of my favorite communities that I've ever been in, the sort of book community. I know there can be a lot of negativity and bad things that happen every now and then, but on the whole, for me personally, I love how supportive everyone is as like a work environment. She says she works by herself, but you know what I mean. Everyone's just so lovely. The people that I've come across, thank goodness. So whilst I'm busy in the office, I'm going to talk about my dump list for June. So I am filming this towards the end of June, on the 20th of June. So I've got like a few days. I've got about a week and a bit. Oh, I've no idea how many days are left. But anyway, I've got about a week to do some of the things in my dump list. One of those is to get this video out, and then also I want to start working on my Q3 video, but that, because obviously that implies I know what I'm doing in Q3, so that sort of does need looking at. But also something that I've been working on in the background over the past couple of months is working on my newsletter and my website. So websites, it's a tricky one. They cost a lot of money and I'm obviously on a very short budget. Now, my current website isn't too bad, but I had some issues with them when I came to renew. I signed up with Name Hero. Now, it's not anything bad, but I am going to tell you my experience with them. So the first year was great. I got the first year discount. Then the second year it went up. Now, when I first signed up, I turned off automatic payments because I wanted to make the payments myself so that I had the option to move if I wanted to. When it came around to renewing, I was not in a space to sort of search and move my website. So I was happy to just renew at the new price, which I did. I paid it. I paid through PayPal. Now, bearing in mind, when I first did it, I turned off automatic payment. So I paid the new price for this year. And obviously, last year, I set up no automatic payments. So I did it for both my domain name and for hosting. Not a cheap amount. I think it is cheap for some people, but for me, it was still I think it was like $130 for the hosting and then $17, $18 for the domain name. So I paid that before the date. I paid via PayPal. That's really important to this story. Next thing I know, on the date that the deadline day, the day that it cut off, I then had a message through saying that I had paid again. And I was like, what do you mean I've paid again? Bearing in mind, I had other payments coming out of my account and that I had no money then because that had just taken me down to zero. And so I went online and I'd paid again. So I messaged them to sort it out. And basically what had happened is there is a glitch somewhere that if you pay via PayPal, it sort of resets the no automatic payment. So what I'd done is I've just paid and then said, yeah, take the money out again. I changed, so it changed the automatic payment. They couldn't seem to understand why I was angry at this because I was like, well, if you know that's a known problem, why are you, because at first they made it seem like it was my fault that I had left automatic payments on. And I was like, even if I had, I've already paid it. How is that not in your system acknowledging the fact that I've paid it? Because online it said, yep, you've paid it. Then, so they took the money out in dollars. And obviously because of the conversions, take the money out. And then when they put the money back in, I was actually down money because of the conversions when it happened. I tried to say, well, actually, I'm down money. Can you please send me this money? And they were like, oh, well, no, that's out of our hands. And I said, so is this whole situation out of my hands? It is not my fault. You know it's a known problem. After a while, they said, oh, it's a known problem when you pay via PayPal. And I was like, well, again, that is not my fault because that was not made clear. So it just left a sour taste in my mouth. And when that happens, I'm like, ugh, I can't do this anymore. And also, it's not the easiest of web bases for me. I'm not very technical. So my website was actually getting really tricky to do. And then I came across MailerLite, which I already use for my newsletter service. And a few people had said they were considering using MailerLite, the website. And I also have an author friend who uses the free service. So you can get, with the free website, you get, I think it's up to 5 pages, website pages. But you don't get to choose your domain name. Obviously, it'll say whatever you're calling it, and it'll have MailerLite somewhere in there. So I was like, oh, that is interesting. Now, unfortunately, I've got books that are linked to my website. And also I've got bookmarks that have the QR codes that are linked to my website. So I do really want a website that has my domain name in. So what you can do is you can pay for the MailerLite website and then you can have unlimited pages, I believe. And then you can also then transfer your domain name. No, not transfer. You can add it, I think. Not entirely sure. This is something that I will be doing over next week because that's part of my June dump list. Is even though my website doesn't run out until October, I want to carry on with my website on MailerLite, and I've maxed out on the number of pages I can get on the free account. So I think I'm going to cancel close down my website, my current website. So there may be a time where I'm out of having a website, but that's just something that might just have to happen. Then I'll transfer or add in my domain name so that my website says it's still the same, ULR, so Rhiannon Edwards Author. I'll be able to then edit that website and add on the other pages so that I can have the full amount of pages that I need. So when I was looking at payment, I do believe you can get your website for about $10 a month or £10 a month. So I think I'm looking at around £120 for the year. It may be slightly more. I'm a little bit unsure because there's two lots of pricing. You've got your pricing for your newsletter and then your pricing for your website. Now at the moment, I don't have enough subscribers to pay for my MailerLite, which is fine. So what I would then do is connect my website up to my newsletter. Once I hit the subscriber numbers for needing to pay, you can then you move up on the bands that you pay for your newsletter, and then I think you get your website included for free. Well, not for free, you're paying for your newsletter, but you get the website pages. So eventually, hopefully, when I get more newsletter subscribers and I sort of build that way, hopefully we'll get to a point where sort of merging those payments together. So I'm also trying to think long term. So it's not necessarily saving me loads of money right now, but I really like the website builder. It's very familiar to me because of the newsletter, and it was really intuitive, if that makes sense. There were a few things that I had to get around, like I would save a block on my website with like the backgrounds and the fonts and everything, and I would then apply it to all other blocks, forgetting that then that would override everything I've already done. So you just need to save that one block and not override it. So there were a few things like that I had to work through. There's obviously a lot of links that I need to add on and sort out. I've also been focusing on making sure everything is right on the legal side of things. So my privacy policy, my address, which I now use a PO box or whatever it's called, and everything like that. So getting everything into place in the background. So I haven't been idle. I have been working on things. I just haven't been working on book 3 as much as I would like to. But I am working towards making proper steps. Not proper steps, but you know what I mean. I've been working towards getting things in right, getting all my eggs in my basket and like that. I am lucky that I am both part of the Publish and Thrive with Sarah Cannon from Heart Breathings. So there's a lot of information there that helps you, especially with like privacy policies and stuff like that. And then I'm also part of a marketing club on Instagram and on Facebook as well. So I pay monthly for support with marketing, and it now does things with emails, which I was really happy with. And so I've got a lot of help from that course, and that it's a monthly payment thing, so it's ongoing. It's called the Creatives Content Club by Marketing by Shelby. I'll put the links down below because I really enjoy the club. So she does monthly content audits. So you can put a piece of marketing in there. So like an Instagram post or a reel or a TikTok or an email you want to send. You can put your content in there, and then she'll do a live session where it goes through all the different content pieces that you want looking at and give you some advice. She does a monthly Q&A as well. The group's also a good place if you've got any marketing questions to just pop them in there, and she'll answer them throughout the month as well. But I do find the lives really helpful because it does keep the information all together. So there's a lot of good things about that group that I have not been utilising for the past 6 months, but I have been utilising all the extras that comes with that. So there's extra courses and things online. So I've done a lot of research on newsletters. I've been working on my automated sequence. So that'll be up and running soon. I've also been working on my actual newsletter. So if you're not part of my newsletter, go ahead and subscribe, because I think I'll be starting that newsletter back up in August. I will let you know when I have put my new automated sequence on. I may even stop my newsletter for a little bit while sign-ups, because I want people to get the new automated sequence. So actually, don't sign up just yet. Wait until I give you the go-ahead and then sign up so you can see what I've been working on and the automated sequence. I'll probably do a video where I show you sort of how I've been doing that and the automated sequences and my first few newsletters back after being off for so long. But that is basically what I want to do in June, is to get this video up, start working on my Q3 video, and then sort out that website by closing down my old one, doing the new one, and then working on those extra pages ready for when I am going to send out my first newsletter. So I will be doing some promotional stuff on Instagram and TikTok about signing up and hopefully getting some more people on my newsletter. So that was an incredibly long waffle. I've not had chance to just like sit down with you guys and have a little chit chat like this for a long time. So it was really nice to talk to you. I'm going to go back to sorting out Rianne because she'll walk you through the whole new room and how it looks. And I'm sure you'll agree that I think I did a pretty good job. Oh, well, I am incredibly hot and sweaty. It's a very hot day, but I think I've done a good job. And I've also, so stuff that I put in my bedroom, I've also put away, which I don't normally do. And I've got several bags on the landing to go downstairs, so I'll do that when I go downstairs. But let me just show you the room. Okay, so excuse the fact that I have not dusted. So there's dust everywhere, or hoovered, and there's obviously a stain mark in the middle of the room there, but this is the room. So let me go through everything so you can see. So this is the desk. This is a spare plant pot now. Now what's given me hope with these two plants, this one and that one down there, is that they still have green bits on. So I've tried my best to sort of prune. I don't even know what I'm doing when I prune. So I've done my best, given them a good water. This I need to take downstairs. It's a bunch of tools. And then this stuff here is like some arty crafty stuff. We've also got some arty crafty stuff downstairs. What I want to do is get one of those like little wheelie trolleys. We can then keep it up here or downstairs. And then whenever the kids want to do some arts and crafts, we can just like wheel out that. So that is in the corner and a bit messy. I've got my frames ready to go up, but I'm not quite sure where to put them. So for now, I've put this back up there for, could use that as a monthly thing. Now I did have the pictures along here, my book covers, but I've now got my corner bookshelf. So I'm not quite sure if there's the right place, but there is this space here that I was thinking of putting all my book covers up. But I don't know. What do you think? Please comment down below so I can have an idea of what to do. Now, this stuff here, I have actually gone through it. These are like memory boxes or keepsake boxes that I want to keep. This stuff, believe it or not, is actually from me from like as when I was a kid. So I've sort of left those in the boxes there. I even opened up the pink one underneath. And this is like an old shoe box. And in here, there is my dog's old collar. So I will have Jake's collar in there, and I've also got something of Chester's, but I opened up the one with Jake's in, and then this smell just came out, and yeah, it was like old dog smell, but it just reminded me of Jake, so it was actually really quite bittersweet, weirdly. So I've got a box for my husband, 2 boxes, 1 each for children, and then 1 for me down at the bottom. And then this bag here is a whole bag of like photos and things like that. So all of this will go up in the attic. But I am in no way fit enough, stable enough, or light enough to go up the ladder. And my husband will have a fit if I do that. My knee will just give out. So I'm hoping he can put all them in the attic tonight. That will then clear up this space here. So this is our Hoover stuff. I've put that on to charge so I can give it a quick hoover later. And then what I may do is put this box here, which is our stuff to sell, vintage, Facebook, whatever. I'll put that in this corner here. Other than that, I'm not quite sure what to do with this gap here. Originally, you see, this bookshelf was going to go there, and I was going to have this nice corner setup. But none of us, so neither me nor my husband, bearing in mind my husband is a physics teacher and has a first degree in physics, so logistics is his thing. Neither of us thought about the loft hatch, so it couldn't go there. So now I have this gap here, and I'd love to know what you think I should do with it. So yes, I'm thinking of putting my frames up there, but then what do I do down the bottom here? Do I do something to like cover up this bit? I don't want it to look rubbish. I don't want to like just get like a rail. I mean, I could just get like a rail and then a cloth, but yeah, just some ideas. What can I do here? And then this is one side. This is our very old computer. We're probably going to be getting rid of this at some point, but just left it there for now. And underneath I cleared out a little bit. So now we've just got our, what's that called? A shredder, some laptop stuff, and then some picture frames. This is the desk on top. This is my desk. I don't think that's looking too bad. Put some more pictures up there. And more importantly, I cleaned up underneath. Obviously, excuse the fact that it needs hoovering and there's bits everywhere. And I put together my little foot thing. And you can like rock, which is good. Because my knees always hurt a little bit. I need to be taller. But look. So I am really excited for that. And then out on the landing, I need to put these away. These are 2 bags of rubbish. That's a bag of like towels and cloths that need to be washed. This is from my daughter's old, Bailey. Thank you. Absolute cheeky boy. Shouldn't be in there because he's probably eating stuff that they've brought up. So this is from like a whole bunch of dollhouse stuff that we got. My daughter's old dollhouse we got rid of because the kids broke it. But all this stuff is actually kind of like usable. So I'm actually going to see if her nursery want any dollhouse stuff, because her new dollhouse is massive. She doesn't need any of that. That's to go downstairs and mix of stuff. That is a bag of bags. I love saying a bag of bags. And then that right there is dog out. That's some leftover clothes that don't fit my daughter. So one of my son's school friends' mum dropped that off and we've used up most of it. But this was the main thing. I'm so pleased with this. I'm going to go sort downstairs and then I think I'm going to get some lunch and then I'll probably come back upstairs and do some work. But yeah, we did it, guys. I am so happy that I've actually gone through all of this stuff as well. It's one of those things that was just building up. And I'm really happy that I have my lock on the door because the kids just keep coming in and taking stuff. And it really does my head in. So there we go. And then it can't get messy. So I am off. Thank you for joining me and resetting the office and getting ready for some productive work. Bye.